Hello everyone, and welcome to Fucked Fiction. Today's Fucked Fiction comes straight from the Shrek fandom. Does the Shrek fandom exist? I have no idea. But anyways, it's called Shrek x Farquaad. I mean, I don't even need to give any further introduction. You guys know how this is going to be. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Silently, Shrek lay awake in his bed. Too many thoughts had been surrounding him lately.
Is Fiona really the one for me? Can I truly love her? Do onions really have layers?
Shrek worries about these things endlessly. Suddenly, Fiona wakes up. Or perhaps she was going through the same thing Shrek was, and gets up to walk to the bathroom.
Thank God she finally left. I couldn't stand to be around her for a second longer.
Shrek marvels at the fact that he now can't stand being around the woman he once loved, the woman he had children with, the woman he fought for. He sits up and waits for Fiona to come back. He needs to end this, now. Fiona comes back, and when she sees Shrek awake, she seemed a little startled, with a hint of disgust, and says,
"What are you doing up, swine?"
We need to talk, you whore.
He responds,
Look, I can't do this anymore. I thought you were the one. I thought that I'd love you to the end of time. But lately, I just don't think that anymore. I'm not sure what I should think.
Shrek.
She tries to blurt out.
Don't try to change my mind on this woman. You know we've been on and off for a while now. And plus lately.
He trails off.
What is it?
Fiona questions worriedly.
Well, Fiona, I think I'm gay. Whenever I see a hot man, say, Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de la Rosa Ramirez, for example, I just feel all tingly inside, like I'm an onion about to get cooked. Sweet, savory, and layered.
Shrek, I didn't know you felt this way. Why didn't you say anything before?
Men aren't supposed to be like this. It's just plain disgusting.
Shrek said, bursting with confused anger.
Who told you that? Your father. Remember, Shrek, that's the same man who tried to cook you as a child. It's not the best idea to take ideals from him.
Fiona said supportingly.
It's okay, Shrek. I figured you were gay for a long time now, especially with your obsession with anal and gay black thugs.
Thank you, Fiona.
Shrek manages to finish. They lay silently for the rest of the night, eventually trailing off to sleep, but Fiona falls asleep much faster than Shrek. The next morning came, and Shrek confronted Fiona again.
Fiona,
he said,
I'm setting out to find a man that I can be with. A man I can be happy with. I want you to know that none of this is your own fault.
Don't worry, Shrek.
Fiona responds.
We just weren't meant to be. I'll have my stuff back to the castle by the end of the week.
Thank you, Fiona. I couldn't ask for a more supportive ex.
Shrek jokes.
See you around.
And they parted ways, never to be in each other's loving embrace again.
What do you think you're doing in my kingdom?
Farquaad asked the pixie found flying around the village.
I know that you know about the law forbidding any fairy tale creatures in the kingdom.
I'm sorry.
The fairy said.
My family is starving. Town was the only place where we could get food.
Irrelevant,
Farquaad responded.
Why didn't you just go to a town in another kingdom?
There are no other kingdoms, you ignorant pig.
The pixie gasped as she realized what she just said, but more importantly, who she said it to.
What did you just say to me?
Farquaad belched. He just fucking burped out some words.
That's it. 50 years in the dungeon.
But...
No buts. Guards, escort this fine young lady out of here.
Although the pixie struggled, he couldn't escape, and soon the screams of anguish were drowned out by the closing door. Farquaad thought about the fairy tale creatures often, about how disgusting they were, always thinking of ways to get rid of them. But Farquaad always had but one weakness to these creatures, one that he could never admit to anyone, barely even to himself. Ogres. Ever since Farquaad saw his first ogre at age 5, he was always turned on by them. Fucking age 5? Really? Of course, when he was that age, he didn't understand. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. But as he aged, his taste in ogres became more defined.
Tall, layered, smell like onions, and male.
The last part was the hardest for him to admit. He had always been a ladies' man, but when it came to ogres, there was no denying the fact that men were superior.
I can't stand myself.
Farquaad would always say this when this topic came to mind. He'd try to justify, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get the thoughts out of his head. Although the fairy tale creatures would be more than overjoyed to hear about this, if he were to get an ogre boyfriend, surely the rights of the fairy tale creatures would be reinstated, giving them their freedom back. Finally, Farquaad forced himself into a decision. He was going to look for an ogre boyfriend.
If I can find one by the end of the month, then I will not exterminate any fairy tale creatures. But if I don't, all creatures, including ogres, will get brutally tortured and murdered.
My goodness. Brutally tortured and murdered. What a fucking edgelord, just because he can't find a boyfriend. And so, Farquaad set out in disguise, dressed as a commoner, to find his true self that he could be happy with. I don't think anybody could mistake that giant face of his. Shrek left in such a hurry that he wasn't even sure where he was going. After he left the swamp, he wandered mindlessly for a few hours, and he was soon lost. He still wandered down a road, but he had taken so many turns that he had no idea what he was doing. However, soon, he found a sign that said, "Far, far away." Thank onions. Shrek exclaimed, glad to see a familiar landmark. Although, sad memories of his time with Fiona filled his head. He shook them off with the hope finding a new love. Farquaad left the castle. He decided to go to the bar before he set out on his adventure to find a broger to fall in love with. Broger. He drank a few drinks before he decided to leave. Yeah, he's got to get drunk before he finds his ogre boyfriend because he can't handle the shame. I know how that feels. But as he got up, an ogre walked in. Big, hulky, and with a certain scent. Onions.
He's perfect,
Farquaad thought. His palms started getting all sweaty as he walked up to the ogre to introduce himself.
Hi. My name's Farquaad. What's yours?
Me?
He responds.
I'm Shrek. You need something?
Could I maybe buy you a drink?
Well, laddie, if that be all you wanted, you should have just said so.
Farquaad was relieved beyond belief.
Just play it cool,
he thought.
Don't ruin this. This is the one and only chance with an ogre you'll ever get. If mess up, it'll be all ogre for me.
What's on your mind, laddie?
Shrek asked, wondering what could be on the mind of this hot hunk of man.
How would you like to rent a hotel room with me tonight? It's on me.
What kind of man do you take me for?
Shrek said.
This is it. I've blown it. I'm sorry.
Whatever for. Of course I'll come with you.
Shrek picked Farquaad up, with credit mostly to the drinks, and carried him off to the Love Hotel across town, the happily ever after. So they just didn't drink? I thought Farquaad was supposed to buy Shrek a drink, but then they just forgot about that and they're like, let's go fuck instead. Right as we meet. Shrek carried Farquaad into the hotel, and threw him on the bed. They cuddled for a little bit, and looked into each other's eyes, feeling the moment. Feeling what seemed to be, and very well could be, true love. Even though they just met, 15 minutes ago?
Aye, laddie. Have you ever kissed an ogre before? They say there's a faint taste of onions on their breath, if you can handle it.
Oh, Shrek, I can do more than handle it,
Farquaad said. Farquaad then proceeded to passionately make out with Shrek. Everything was perfect. His hand on Shrek's face, Shrek's hot breath, gross. Gross! Everything. Farquaad started unzipping his pants, but Shrek stopped him, blurting out.
Aye, laddie. What do you think you're doing?
What do you mean?
Farquaad responded, rather stunned.
We haven't even known each other for a day. You're already trying to fuck me? Is this all you're after?
6. Shrek started tearing up. What?
No, it's not that. I promise you.
I knew this was too good to be true. I should have just stayed in my swamp.
Shrek turned to leave the room.
Wait!
Farquaad cried, but it was too late. Shrek was gone. Farquaad had driven him out. Shrek ran out of the hotel, tears streaming down his face. You're a little bitch, you guys knew each other for like 15 minutes. He went to a vendor and bought an onion to help try and cheer him up, but it didn't work. Shrek was completely and utterly destroyed. He was going to go into another hotel, but tears of memory started swelling in his eyes, and he couldn't pull himself through the door. So he ran away, and hid into a back alley. It started raining, but Shrek didn't care. With the betrayal he just felt, nothing could make him feel any better. Nothing. Farquaad was so stunned, so ashamed.
How could this happen?
He thought.
I never thought I'd mess up so badly.
Farquaad was as equally destroyed as Shrek, but Farquaad had something he needed to do that kept him going. He had to apologize to Shrek. He ran out of the hotel, and it started raining, but he didn't care. All he cared about was finding Shrek and apologizing. Even if he and Shrek couldn't hook up afterwards, as long as Shrek knows he meant no harm, that'd be enough.
Have you seen any ogres around here?
He'd ask all the townspeople he saw walking around. Fortunately, ogres aren't that common a sight, so he was quickly able to locate Shrek.
Shrek!
Farquaad?
Shrek said, lifting his head.
Shrek, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken things so fast. I should have respected the fact that you weren't ready yet.
Farquaad. Thank ye.
Shrek, I promise never to hurt you again. But only if you promise to never make me worry like this again.
Farquaad shot a smile at him.
I promise.
Farquaad helped Shrek up and kissed him. It was a risky move, but Farquaad just couldn't resist. Shrek smiled and said,
Hey laddie, you could have waited till we got back to the hotel.
But then quickly kissed Farquaad back. This wasn't an ordinary kiss, however. This was the kiss of love. The kiss of true love. They were truly meant to be. Again, you met 30 minutes ago. This kind of reminds me of Frozen, when fucking Anna and Hans first met and they were already about to get married. This is exactly how it is. Again, just like he had earlier that day, Shrek carried Farquaad into the hotel. This time, however, Shrek was ready. The tension in the air hung like an elephant on a clothing line. Great analogy, mate. Shrek pushed Farquaad onto the bed and playfully and lustfully smiled at him. This time, Shrek took the initiative. He ripped off his shirt like he was a heavyweight Super Slam superstar holding the title belt for... Okay. Yeah, okay. That didn't need to be added in there. That's not comedy at all. And he tugged Farquaad's pants off. He looked at Farquaad's dick, roughly 6 inches, and licked the tip, pre-cum already oozing out of it. Oh god. Shrek giggled and said,
My laddie, you should add a salty one.
Shut up! I just eat a lot of onions.
So you eat onions a lot too? They're my favourite.
And after the last work was said, I think they meant to say a word, Shrek shoved Farquaad's dick all the way into the back of his throat. But since he has a giant ogre mouth, it cannot reach the knack of his throat. The knack. This person needs to proofread. Which, while it slightly disappointed Shrek, he was also a little glad because his gag reflex couldn't be activated. Shrek was the absolute best at giving a blowjob, and was somehow able to lick all of the sensitive areas of Farquaad's penis. He licked the side slowly, and under the head quickly, and then went EWO, and down his whole shaft with the speed of light and the thought of, gotta go fast in his mind. God! They're trying to be funny, but it's just not funny. I don't think it's funny, I'm just laughing at how fucking retarded it is. And then Farquaad came inside of Shrek's mouth. Shrek swallowed. Shrek picked Farquaad up, smeared onion-based lube all over his cock and Farquaad's tight virgin asshole, and shoved his dick inside of Farquaad.
I'm about to go pretty far in your quad,
Shrek joked. But Farquaad was feeling so much pleasure that he couldn't respond, and could only moan. Shrek pumped furiously, and he would not stop, and he jerked Farquaad off as he did it. Farquaad felt the most intense feeling he'd ever received in his life, far better than what any woman had ever given him, and he could not focus on anything but Shrek's 1.5 foot long cock. As Shrek pushed in and out, his penis was visible in Farquaad's stomach. Bellyboner.com for reference. Okay, man. And Shrek felt he was about to come. This was far better than Fiona ever was, and certainly anyone else for that matter. This was true love. This was true lovemaking. With that final thought, Shrek came inside of Farquaad, with an aroma of sweat and onions around him, and the still echoing roar of his moan as he came. Farquaad was panting from the workout he just received, but that didn't stop him from looking Shrek in the eyes and saying,
Shrek, you are my love. You are my life.
Before passing out. It's been about a week, and the couple is already living together in Duloc Castle. Everything is going good in the country. The fairy tale creatures are back, and the economy is booming. Yeah, within just a week, the economy is already way back on track, because it only takes a week to fix an economy, guys. Shrek and Farquaad are meant to be, and they live happily ever after. The end. But anyways, guys, this concludes our broadcast day. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, send some cringeworthy stuff to my DeviantArt, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more. See you guys next time.
Have you seen any ogres around here?
Fucking damn it.